everyone, and welcome to the daily newspaper analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. We hope that you're all doing good and fine. So let's start with our newspaper analysis for the day. So today we have an article that we have taken from the Indian Express newspaper. The title of this article is An Encounter with Injustice. So this talks about the Disha case, wherein, if you remember, there was a gang rape that had taken place with a veterinarian in Hyderabad, and the accused of this particular case were actually shot down by the police, and they claimed that they were trying to run away from the custody. So that was a case of custodial death. So we'll learn more about it and what are the repercussions or what are the legal issues attached with custodial death. Secondly, we have the news update column, wherein we'll be discussing the small and crisp news points that are more important for a prelims exam. And finally, we'll be concluding with the legal news for the day, wherein we'll be discussing the most important latest case notes for the day. Before moving further, I'd like to congratulate Prachi Singh and Hiba Shahid for giving the right answer in yesterday's newspaper analysis. They gave the right answer and the right full form of the Sarfasi Act. So congratulations, guys. With this, let's start a discussion for the day. The topic for today is an encounter with injustice. So the Supreme Court has appointed an inquiry commission headed by former Supreme Court Justice V.S. Sirpurkar to investigate into the encounter in the Disha case, where the 4 accused of the gang rape were mercilessly killed by 10 policemen. Now, here we need to see at the different facets of particular news that we come across. When this particular thing happened, if you remember, so this encounter was quite much celebrated in the whole of nation, wherein the police said that they had taken these accused to the area of where the crime was had actually occurred, and they were trying to recreate the crime scene. While they were doing so, the accused, they tried to run away, they tried to peddle the police, they also tried to attack on the police, and that is why in a counter attack the police had to encounter these accused. Now, this was a story that was given by the policeman. At that particular time, it was quite much celebrated by a whole of nation, wherein we said that this is called as justice, and the person, Disha, who was the veterinarian who was gang raped and killed, she has been given justice. But now this has taken altogether a different story, because whatever the thing is, it was definitely a case of custodial death. If at all it was a planned thing. So that is why, to get along into the matter, the Supreme Court has appointed an inquiry commission for this regard. So the commission is directed to bring charges of murder against the 10 policemen who were there involved in that particular case. So it was also shown that the police has desperately tried to suppress the fact that 2 of the accused were also juvenile. Now, of course, as we know that in India, we have different and special rules for the juvenile, and here it was not at all considered probably that 2 out of the 4 accused were juvenile. So the investigation of custodial deaths are complicated, especially due to delay in prosecution, and this impacts the quality of evidence and also brings in outside influence of powerful entities, whoever would like to involve themselves into this matter. Now, for instance, the 2014 Valdaris case saw the Supreme Court bringing charges under Section 302 of IPC against a policeman. So what happened during this 2014 Valdaris case, that there was this accused Valdaris who tried to escape from the police custody. Now, meanwhile, he was trying to escape, he was running. The policemen were chasing him, and he got run by a train. So he got hit by a train, and he died. Now, when this happened, so here also the Supreme Court has brought the charges of 302, that is murder, against the policemen. Now, however, the same is pending since 2020, as the trial court has refused to frame charges and the prosecution refuses to seek sanction from the state government. See, basically what happens is that in such cases, the responsibility and liability comes up of the state government. In this regard, the state is not really very willing to take any charges or any responsibility on itself in the very first instance. So the accountability of security forces, in this case the police, is a rather uphill task, which means it's rather a difficult task, and the state has a tendency to resist such prosecution against themselves. Now, this lack of accountability is further fueled with the systematic complicity of the state mechanism and the public furor that often accompanies such indiscreet acts of violence. So what happens is that many a times this lack of accountability let the state, let such security forces open in the ground, and due to the lack of transferability, lack of accountability, as well as the transferability, what happens is that the state is not put to answer, and thus many a times the custodial deaths take place in the process. Now, in light of this, it is now the responsibility of the state and the judiciary to ensure that the officers involved are prosecuted and investigated without delay and prejudice. So let's see what comes up with this upcoming inquiry commission. With this, let's see that what do we have for news updates today. Firstly, money spider ant mimicking species spotted in Wayanad. So basically, this is a spider, but this looks way too much like an ant. So the ant mimicking spider has been named the Toxeus alboclavus, and the researchers collected the species of jumping spiders from among leaf litters. So ant mimic spiders can be found anywhere ants are found. So in the fields, in lawns, gardens, woods, trees, and even under the stones. And they can be mistaken with being an ant, and thus can be very dangerous too. Secondly, 60% of the e-waste of recycling likely by 2023. So according to a draft notification made public by the Environment Ministry, consumer goods companies and makers of the electronic goods have to ensure at least 60% of their electronic waste is collected and recycled by 2023. And by e-waste or electronic waste, I hope you understand, you can look at this picture as well. Like, for example, we have any kind of old microwave, any old laptops, the phones that you might be using right now. So when they are no more of our use, they tend to become the electronic waste. Now, because of the kinds of metals, some radioactive stuff also that is many times used in such electronic appliances, it is very, very important that they are dumped in the most efficient manner. Thirdly, IOC's OVEP launched in Odisha, so a pilot project of the Olympic Values Education Program, that is OVEP, which aims to disseminate principle-based curriculum to help the children as become active, and also it is in order to become children active, healthy, and responsible citizens has been launched in Odisha. Fourthly, WHO chief confirmed for second term. So WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus is expected to be confirmed by the UN Health Agency's member countries for a second 5-year term. Let's see what do we have for legal updates today. Firstly, Section 405 of the Indian Penal Code, offence of criminal breach of trust is not attracted if there was not entrustment of property with accused, says the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court has observed that the offence of criminal breach of trust under Section 405 will not be attracted if there was no entrustment of the property with the accused. So sine qua non, that is something that is very, very important for attracting Section 405 of IPC is the entrustment of property with the accused persons. And this was held in the case of Gurukanwarpal, Kirpal Singh versus Surya, Prakasam. Secondly, parties are bound by statements made by their counsel in court, according to the Punjab and Haryana High Court. So the Punjab and Haryana High Court has reiterated that parties are bound by the statements made by their counsel in the court. The observation was made while disallowing a review application filed against an order on the ground of an error apparent. This was held in the case of Ankush Rawat versus Guru Nanak Education Trust and another. So that was all for the day. We hope you liked this discussion. If you did, do not forget to like it. You can join our Telegram channel for downloading the PDF of today's slides. The link is there in the description box below. Thank you so much.